SNP spokesperson Alan Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. It's a pleasure to follow the Shadow Minister. I agree with all his comments, but I just do hope that Labour stay absolutely resolute at this. And if they come into government, don't want to see another U-turn and another U-turn in the election, given what we've just heard at the weekend. And Madam Deputy Speaker, the Minister made the comments and the myths again about how this is about saving lives and livelihoods. I don't know how the Minister can talk about saving livelihoods when he's bringing forward a bill that's going to allow workers to be sacked more easily. It's actually workers' livelihoods that are at stake because of the bill and the intentions of this bill. Now, I'd like to put on record my thanks to the Lords for the fight they've brought to this, but equally I'm a wee bit disappointed, to be honest, that the amendment we're debating tonight in terms of Amendment 2D is one about consultation. So even if we managed to defeat the government tonight, this amendment doesn't actually provide any additional proper protections for the unions or proper protections for the workers, because it's all about consulting. Now, at least consulting would draw out some transparency, because the government would need to publish responses and allow the House as a joint committee to debate that. But in itself, it doesn't provide any additional protections.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for giving way, but doesn't that speak volumes about the way in which this government conducts its business, that it goes through a consultation process and is not prepared to publish the results of that consultation? What have they got to hide?
Absolutely.
It's a fair point. Obviously, I can't answer what they've got to hide, other than we know it'll be a whole raft of answers that shows how unworkable it is and how prejudiced this is. And again, you know, subsection B about consulting an international labour organisation, they keep telling us that this brings legislation into the UK in line with international norms, and quite clearly it doesn't. The ILO has already said that the UK has already got some of the most draconian strike legislation rules as it is before this bill was introduced. So there's no doubt the government's frightened to consult the ILO, because they're frightened of the answers that will come back and the evidence that will put into the public domain when it's published about how draconian this really is. The thing is, and as I say, it looks like the Lords are going to back down after this, which is also disappointing, because there's no more scheduled business to allow further consideration of Lords' message, which actually suggests that they're not going to push it beyond that. And that's disappointing, especially when you consider the government's tried to argue before this a manifesto commitment. The actual manifesto commitment, Madam Deputy Speaker, was at minimum services for transport. It wasn't as wide-ranging as this, so the Lords would be completely justified to continue to resist this as long as possible. Now, as the Shadow Minister said, the thing about this going forward now, because this is now just at consult rather than the previous amendments we had, unions are still at risk of facing big fines. Unions are still going to be complied to effectively help employers disrupt strikes and help employers single out workers. And worst of all, as we know, workers can now get sacked for not complying with a work notice they've not received. So why the government wouldn't even be willing to consult on that and publish an impact assessment on that is beyond me. Again, they know, because it allows employers to unfairly discriminate, pick out the awkward squad and then discipline them for not discipline them and sack them with no recourse to tribunal. So welcome, Madam Deputy Speaker, to 21st century authoritarian Britain, where sacking workers like this brings the UK in line with Russia and Hungary, and not the international norms that the Minister and Government tries to tell us otherwise. So I'll be voting against the Government motion to disagree with the Lords. I hope the Lords don't give up the fight, but I'm frightened they do. And again, that's why we want away from this union, because it's certainly not working for anybody.